Have you ever wondered about the early inhabitants of the Gold Coast, now known as Ghana? Let's travel back in time to the 4th century BCE, a time when the area we now call Ghana first began to stir with life. Archaeological evidence reveals that this region was home to thriving civilizations long before the advent of written history. Among these ancient societies were the Bono state, known for their sophisticated social structure, and the Ashanti Empire, a powerful kingdom that held sway over the region. The Ashanti Empire in particular was renowned for its wealth and military prowess, leaving an indelible mark on the region's history. These early societies were not isolated entities but part of a larger tapestry of cultures and civilizations that spanned the continent. They engaged in trade, warfare, and diplomacy, shaping the course of history in the region we now know as Ghana. These early civilizations set the stage for the rich history that was to unfold on the Gold Coast. Did you know that the Gold Coast was a vibrant hub for trade, especially gold, attracting traders from afar? This bustling region, now known as Ghana, was rich in gold, a precious resource that was highly sought after. Its strategic location made it a central point in the Trans-Saharan Trade routes, sparking a flurry of commercial activities that forever shaped its history. Traders from North Africa, Europe, and the Middle East were drawn to the Gold Coast, seeking to exploit its rich gold deposits. The allure of gold was so strong that it spurred the development of complex trade routes across the harsh Sahara Desert. These routes connected the Gold Coast to distant lands, fostering exchange not only of goods but also of ideas, cultures, and technologies. The gold trade not only enriched the local kingdoms but also built bridges between different civilizations. It was this wealth and connectivity that put the Gold Coast on the global map. The Gold Coast's abundant resources made it a key player in the global trade of the era. What happened when the Europeans set foot on the Gold Coast? The late 15th century marked a significant shift in the history of the region. The Portuguese, in their quest for gold and valuable resources, were the first Europeans to arrive on the Gold Coast. Drawn by the region's abundant wealth, they established a trading post at Elmina, which later became a key point in the transatlantic trade routes. But the Portuguese were not alone. The allure of the Gold Coast's resources was too great to resist, and soon other European powers followed suit. The Dutch, the British, and the Danes, among others, established their own trading posts and forts along the coast. These fortifications served as symbols of European dominance, and their remains echo the tales of a bygone era. The arrival of Europeans marked a significant turning point in the history of the Gold Coast. The stage was set for a new chapter, one that would forever change the trajectory of the region. How did the Gold Coast feature in the grim chapter of the Atlantic slave trade? This question prompts us to delve into a painful segment of the region's past. The Gold Coast, known today as Ghana, played a pivotal role in the Atlantic slave trade. European powers, in their quest for wealth and dominance, turned their gaze to this region, rich in human resources. The Portuguese, Dutch, British, and Danes established fortified structures along the coast, not as symbols of protection, but as tools of oppression. These forts and castles became the nerve center for the capture and shipment of enslaved Africans to the Americas. Men and women were stripped of their freedom, their dignity, and their connection to their homeland. The echoes of this brutal period can still be heard in the silent walls of these coastal edifices, a stark reminder of the inhumanity that once prevailed. The Atlantic slave trade left a lasting impact on the region, a dark part of its history. What led to the British colonization of the Gold Coast? This question takes us back to the 19th century when the British Empire was expanding its reach across the globe. The Gold Coast, abundant in resources and strategically located, was a prime target. The British had been trading on the Gold Coast since the 17th century, but it wasn't until the 19th century that they started to exert more control. They gradually expanded their influence, establishing more trading posts and forts along the coast. This was a period of increased competition among European powers, all eager to secure their share of Africa's wealth. Amidst this wave of British expansion, the Ashanti Empire, a powerful state in the region, resisted the British encroachment. The Ashanti, known for their military prowess and sophisticated political system, were not going to be easily subdued. They fiercely defended their autonomy, leading to several conflicts with the British. These Ashanti-British conflicts, part of the larger scramble for Africa, were intense and drawn out. Yet, the superior military technology of the British, and their strategic alliances with smaller states eventually led to the Ashanti's defeat. In the aftermath, the Ashanti territories were incorporated into the British Gold Coast colony. Under British rule, the Gold Coast underwent significant changes. The British introduced new systems of administration, law, and education, reshaping the socio-political landscape. They exploited the region's resources, particularly gold and cocoa, fueling the British economy back home. However, British rule was not without resistance. Discontent grew among the locals, leading to several uprisings. The seeds of nationalism were sown, setting the stage for the fight for independence in the coming decades. The Gold Coast was reshaped under British rule, setting the stage for the fight for independence. This chapter of the Gold Coast's history, while marred by conflict and exploitation, was also a time of resilience and resistance. It was a crucial period that paved the way for the Gold Coast's transformation into the independent nation of Ghana. How did Ghana achieve its independence and become a nation? In the mid-20th century, the Gold Coast teetered on the precipice of a new era, an era of self-rule and nationhood. For centuries, the region had been under the yoke of colonial rule, but the winds of change were beginning to blow. The call for freedom resounded in the hearts of the people, and at the forefront of this movement was Kwame Nkrumah, a charismatic leader and a fervent advocate for Pan-Africanism. Nkrumah emerged as a beacon of hope for the people of the Gold Coast. Nkrumah's vision was not just for a free Gold Coast, but for a united Africa. He believed that the liberation of Africa from colonial rule was not only possible, but necessary for the continent's progress. Nkrumah's convictions led him to form the Convention People's Party in 1949, a political party dedicated to the cause of independence. The journey to freedom was not without its trials. There were roadblocks, setbacks, and sacrifices, but the people's resolve was unshakable, their spirit undeterred. On the 6th of March 1957, their dream became a reality. The Gold Coast shed its colonial identity and emerged as Ghana, the first sub-Saharan African nation to throw off the chains of colonial rule. Nkrumah's vision didn't stop at independence. He became Ghana's first prime minister, and later its first president, guiding the new nation through its formative years. Under his leadership, Ghana embarked on an ambitious plan of modernization and economic development, setting the stage for the nation we know today. But nationhood was more than just political independence. It was about forging a national identity, about building a society rooted in the values of freedom, justice, and equality. It was about crafting a shared narrative, one that celebrated the richness of Ghana's cultural heritage while looking towards a future of progress and prosperity. Ghana's independence marked a new chapter in its history, one of self-governance and nationhood. Today, the legacy of that historic moment lives on, a testament to the courage, resilience, and indomitable spirit of the Ghanaian people. What challenges did Ghana face after gaining independence? As we step into the post-independence era, Ghana grappled with a series of daunting hurdles. The euphoria of freedom soon gave way to the reality of nation-building. The early years of independence were marked by economic difficulties. Despite being rich in gold, cocoa, and minerals, the country struggled with high inflation, unemployment, and economic mismanagement. The transition from a colonial economy to an independent one was anything but smooth. In addition to economic problems, Ghana was plagued by political instability. The optimism of the independence movement was soon overshadowed by a series of military coups. The promise of democracy seemed to be slipping away as the country oscillated between civilian rule and military dictatorships, testing the resilience of its people. Yet, amid these trials, Ghana's spirit remained unbroken. These challenges tested the resilience of the newly independent nation. But as we'll see, Ghana was not just surviving, it was learning, adapting, and preparing to thrive. What is Ghana like today? Well, this West African gem has come a long way since its ancient roots. Modern Ghana is a beacon of political stability, boasting a robust democratic governance that sets an example for its neighbors. This stability, a rarity in the region, is a reflection of the nation's resilience and determination to overcome its historical challenges. Economically, Ghana's growth trajectory is on the rise. The country has successfully diversified its economy, moving beyond the gold that once defined its identity. Now, sectors like cocoa production, oil, and services are contributing to its development, creating a more balanced and sustainable economic landscape. More than just an economic powerhouse, Ghana is a vibrant cultural hub. Its rich cultural heritage, a blend of traditions from its ancient past and contemporary influences, continues to shape its identity and charm visitors from around the world. Ghana's journey from the ancient Gold Coast to a modern nation is a testament to its resilience and potential.